Hey guys, welcome everyone. This is Viperstrike 95 and welcome to today's stream here. Today we're here at St. Just Airport, located at Land's End in the United Kingdom. And welcome today for this amazing new journey I've been wanting to do for quite a while. This has been on my mind for a while. And today we're going to be doing one of the most famous air routes, one of the most famous journeys you could take here in the United Kingdom. Land it is the journey from Land's End to John O'Groats. So this famous journey is one of the great accomplishments in the United Kingdom. And basically what this journey is that this is the transversal of the whole length of Great Britain between the two extremities in the southwest and the northeast. So we're going to do this by air. Now there are many ways you could do this. You could do this by bicycling, walking, driving. There's someone who even swam. But today we're going to be doing this in an aeroplane. So we're going to be doing it in some pretty nice planes as well. Seamus McNeil's in the chat. Seamus, good to see you. Finally seeing you here. I hope everything's going well for you, Seamus. So we're going to be going through a slideshow. So we're going to go to our little nav map here. So I did make a change. So we're going to take off here from St. Anne's Airport, Land's End Airport. We're going to go alongside the North Sea and such. We're going to fly into a bit of Wales. And we're going to go to Leland Bedder for our first stop here at Echo Golf Oscar Delta. Then we're going to go around through Snowdonia National Park. Then fly by the coast of the Isle of Man. And then we'll be heading to our second stop here at Prestwick. Good to be right there in Prestwick, right not far outside of Glasgow in Scotland. Then we're going to go through the Loch near Loch Ness Park and Cairngorms Park, fly all the way to the town of John O'Groats, and then we'll fly back to Wick Airport at Echo Golf Papa Charlie. And that would be our final stop here. We're going to stop here at Wick, since traditionally that is the airport near to the John O'Groats. I was originally thinking about going to Florida Isle Airport at Echo Golf Zulu, Quebec as my stopping point, but I want to keep it within the island itself. So I decided to stop at Wick, and plus the distances are both the same. So I think that will be my plan. So the question is what am I going to take? Well, of course, since we are in the United Kingdom and we are in the UK, why not take something very British? And I don't think there's any plane that's more British in this sim than the Spitfire Mark 9, Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9, produced by the wonderful guys here at Flying Iron Simulations. Now, the Spitfire was actually one of the first third-party add-on planes. It might even be the first third-party add-on I've actually gotten for the sim. But this thing has really been updated extremely well. It is a beautiful warbird and such. And this here is the Muscat variant. This is from the Muscat Squadron. But this beautiful Spitfire is a piece of engineering marvel. So the Martinite Spitfire being part of one of the most iconic aircrafts of the entire Second World War. And definitely probably one of the definitive British planes in the entire conflict. Over 20,000 Spitfires have been built for various different models. And has primarily served throughout the British Commonwealth, including the Royal Air Force in Great Britain, the Canadian Air Force, the Free French Air Force, and the U.S. Army Air Force usually serves it. The Mark 9 Spitfire in particular, there's been lots of different versions of the Spitfire. But one of the things that really set the Spitfire apart is its unique elliptical wings. And what those wings do is it gives it, it means this plane doesn't have much drag, and this thing is extremely aerodynamic. This means this Spitfire could turn on a dime when you really wanted to. When you put that, combine the fact with its great service record, and there is no question the Spitfire is an absolute classic plane. And it's been one of my favorite warbirds in the sim for a long time. And I'm very happy to finally take this on one of my streams. So the cockpit, now underneath here, you can actually remove the gun sight. I think it's, yeah, you can put a GPS on it. That's one of the newer things. I'm gonna keep the gun sight though. Now we're gonna get this bird started. Because this is gonna be a long journey, so the sooner I get the Spitfire started, battery started, prop control, forward. We turn on the tanks, I believe. It's already been idle. We're gonna open up this just by half an inch. That's the throttle. There is a primer right here. Here, now we open the starter, the boost coil. Turn on both magnetos. These are the two magnetos on the Spitfire. And let's engage the starter. Let's see if we can hear this beautiful. And that's going to be it. We're going to close this. And we can get ready for takeoff. I didn't start. Oh, did my fuel tanks not get on? Sorry, this is my first time I started Spitfire in a long. It's been a. Oh wait. There we go. I think I fixed it. Oh yeah. Whoa. Oh yeah, I got the Spitfire. Hold on. Oh, she sounds glorious. I'm also going to turn off the engine damage so I don't have to worry. Oh, I didn't notice. Now we're going to take off here from my nearest runway. We're going to take off here from runway 34. I have to close the canopy door. I have to close the canopy. gotta go to the canopy door, correct. I also forgot to close the door. There. Now it's closed. Now it's closed. Okay, like I said, first time I started with Spitfire in a couple of months. So runway 34. Now the key for a lot of you guys who never did the Spitfire, you don't want to put it max power because this thing's P-torque is going to be crazy, especially considering that this thing has a lot of torque thanks to the fact this thing is powered by the Merlin engine, V12 4-horse Merlin. So this is going to be well. And I'm off. Okay, I'm off with the Spitfire. Now we rack up the torque, increase the power of this so we can fly a bit higher. And she's officially off. And that's our Spitfire. She's so we're not going to get super high in terms of degrees and such, but we're just going to give the Spitfire a bit. I'm also going to turn on the fuel pressure knob is on. So definitely a very beautiful plane. And she's officially off. We're going to get some altitude. And now we're going to get onto our flight plan. I'm hoping I can keep this bird stable. Okay, I think I should be right around 23 degrees. And I'm going to put some trim on the Spitfire just to keep her somewhat level. So it's good to see everyone here in the chat. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Hello everyone here. Good to see you. So we just got up here in the Spitfire. And this has been a really cool flight. We're going around 280 plus knots. Wait, let me go to a show. So this is the Supermarine Spit. Yeah, this thing is epic. Supermarine Spitfire. I remember when I first flew this thing back, I believe it was late February, early March. This was with Tucho Murphy, and that Spitfire flight was amazing. I remember that. And I fell in love with this bird. I just never found the opportunity to take the Spitfire out here. And I think this would be a very appropriate journey for the Spit, considering, well, we're in the UK. But I wanted to do something different than just like fly around Biggin Hill and all that. I want to actually do a journey with it. So that's kind of what I want to do with the Spit. So, now the journey we're going to be heading towards today is going to be the Land's End journey. Now, Land's End has been traditionally acknowledged as the western point of England. It's located in Cornwall. And we have to go all the way from southwest to northeast. Now, the traditional journey of this is, by road at least, is 874 miles. And most bicyclists, when they do this trip, it takes them around 10 to 14 days. And the record for running the route is 9 days, which is a record. Now, if you want to walk off the road, you need to walk about 1,200 miles and take 2 or 3 months to do this whole expedition, as they went through 1,200 miles. Signposts indicate the traditional distance at each end. However, if you go for a straight line, this is around 603 miles. But since we're flying through the air and taking a cut through the ocean and such, the real trip should be taking around 530 miles. So, that's kind of the whole lay of the trip. So this is a beautiful countryside, and definitely flying through the ocean is definitely nice, especially in the Spit. Sure. I'm hoping, Seamus, we get to see you streaming again. I know you haven't been streaming for a while now. I think you've been really, really busy. But I mean, if you ever do feel like you want to stream and such, I would be more than happy to watch all your content and such, Seamus. You're such a friendly guy, and you've been a really big help for me. So thanks. So the methods, there's many ways you can do this. The first recorded, there's many ways you can go. Traditionally, walking was the traditional route. However, nowadays there's a lot of ways you can get through this journey. The first actual recorded walk of this journey was completed by two brothers, John and Robert Naylor, in 1871, and has been undertaken many times since then. Now, there's many different routes. There's no continuous long-distance path for this. So, but there's many different paths you can take to get there by walking. And there's actually many kinds of journeys you could take. You could take a path from Land's End all the way here and then go and just connect all the way over here. No worries, Seamus. You've been a really big help for the community. Thank you. Obviously, the next way you can get there is cycling. So, cycling is one of the easier ways to do it. And there's been many records that actually been held here for cycling. Now, on a traditional bicycle, the record time is 43 hours, 25 minutes, and 13 seconds. It was set by a 40-year-old man named Michael Broadwith on June 17, 2018. And then for a woman, that was set in 2002 by Lynn Biddulph with 52 hours, 45 minutes, and 11 seconds. And you may think that's a long time, but that's when you consider the traditional distance by road is 800 miles. But you would have to cut through all of Britain, all the way up there. But we're just going to go straight there, and we're going to go for the fastest time. However, the real fastest cycling time is actually been held by Eddie Wilkinson, and he completed the journey in a tricycle in 41 hours, which is extremely impressive considering, I mean, you have to pedal and all that, and I mean, the physical stress of that's going to be pretty high. In fact, one of the youngest people to actually do the journey was Evelyn Jean Towers, and she became the youngest girl to actually do on a bicycle. She went 110 hours over 22 days at the age of 10 years and 5 months. Yes, a 10-year-old completed the journey, which is pretty crazy to think about. Obviously, running is another thing, as the fastest runner did it in 9 days. But there's significant doubt about it, though. You can actually do this by horse, but that's usually completed by the north to south. And apparently, apparently, the most recent of one of those by horse was in 2007, taking 11 and a half weeks by horse. And then, yes, and then there's also someone who swam the whole thing. Yes, swam. Yes, swimming is one of the things people considered. Sean Conway actually did it. He swam through the entire route in 135 days. He first did that. And then Ross Egley, who was an endurance athlete, he swam the entire route in just 62 days. Yes, by swimming. He swam through the whole route. I mean, these are just some of the stories I've heard. Then there's motoring events. And one of the most famous ones was made by actually a guy from the motorcycle club since 1908, and they did a whole trial about that. In 1911, Ivan B. Hardy Davis became the holder for the first record for solo motorcycles, as he covered 886 miles in 29 hours. And apparently, there's a whole new reliability trial, and that was established in 1993. It's initiated the Land's End and John Groats historic reliability trial. So yes, someone managed to do it in cars and hydrogen-powered vehicles. Then there's even public transport. And then, of course, for airplanes, actually, the fastest made by airplanes was in 1988 when a F-4K Phantom traveled in 46 minutes, which is pretty crazy to say the least. Yes, someone managed to actually complete this in an F4 Phantom in less than an hour. But we're not an F4 Phantom. I may be the first person to do this in a Spitfire. The most British plane you can actually think of. So definitely some pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. So we're gonna be getting to Wales pretty soon. Man, it is just stunning out here. It's a beautiful sight here today. I set it on a few clouds. I raised the clouds up so I won't have to worry about it. And man, this is a very nice day. I love it out here today. And yeah, because of its maneuverability, I can also just, let's see if I can fly upside down like this for a few minutes. Yep. That was pretty interesting. Just flew upside down. Do a loop. Just haven't been fun. Just having a bit of fun here with the loops. So yeah, there were quite a few planes you could have taken. The Spitfire may be the most British plane you could think of, but I mean, there's plenty of options you could have taken. You could have easily took the Mustang, the Zero, the... Just doing some loops. Just doing some loops for fun. Just trying to keep... Just doing some fun. Now I need to head back on course. So our first stop here is going to be at Wales. Now the region of Wales in the British Isles. Wales is actually one of the parts that make the United Kingdom, the other one being England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So Wales has a population of around 3 million people, with a total area of 8,023 square miles, with over 1,608 miles of coastline. Wales is really well known for its unique national identity, and is one of the modern Celtic nations of the world. Definitely one of the most interesting things about Wales is obviously their language, Welsh. Now, the Welsh language Wales is actually spoken by nearly 29% of the population in Wales actually speaks Welsh. In fact, the Welsh language was actually one of the official status in Wales, making it the only language that is de jure official in any part of the UK outside of English in 2011. In fact, it is the only Celtic language not considered endangered by UNESCO. Now, what Wales is definitely known for is the names. Wales, after all, is, well, home to one of the longest city names. And such. Now, the largest city in all of Wales is Cardiff, which is the capital of Wales, followed by Swansea and Newport are the top 3 largest towns and cities in Wales. Which is definitely pretty interesting to think about. So, for example, there's probably some sentences in Welsh. I hope I don't butcher this. So, one of the ones I found out is "I get up early every day." In literary Welsh, that is "Codaf Ian Gana Bob Did." In colloquial Welsh, it is actually split between North and South Wales. It says something a bit different. In colloquial, that means "Dwi'n en Colden Gana Bob Did." Or something like that, which is definitely very interesting to think about. And the reason is the fact there are many different dialects of Welsh, 4 different ones, I believe. And the syntax is definitely extremely interesting alongside their alphabet. They have 29, unlike normal English, they have 29 different letters in the alphabet, which is definitely something to keep in mind about the language, about it. So it definitely is a very interesting thing to talk. So we should get to the Welsh coast pretty soon. I think that's right in front of us. We're getting to one of the coastlines of Wales. In fact, Wales is also universally known for having one of the oldest unbroken literary traditions all of Europe, and it goes all the way back to the 6th century. And some of the earliest verses of Welsh survived well into the medieval ages. Wales is also universally known for being important during the Industrial Revolution, as mining and metallurgical industries developed very much in Wales as well. Alongside traditional like farming and livestock and such is now what their economy is currently. There's more than 50 different national governing bodies regulate sports in Wales. And while traditionally football has been the more popular sport in North Wales, rugby is also a pretty big deal in the region. As Wales has one of the world's top rugby teams internationally. Currently they've been ranked 9th in the world in terms of rugby, as one of the world's strongest rugby teams. And Wales' national football team has been represented in the World Cup and in many other events. And believe it or not, Wales actually has its own baseball. But it's a bit different from the American baseball that I know of. So Wales is definitely a very culturally and very diverse area in England. Definitely has a lot of history, and that's something I really do like about the UK and the United Kingdom and such. Is this region has had a lot of history, and that definitely ties to me as an American because, well, the United States was originally colonized by the English, from the British Isles. Historically. Yeah, this is Wales. We're now entering the region known as Wales. What a beautiful trip here. Wales is looking quite nice out here today. I know the mountainous region is going to probably look really, really good as well. Nice to see everyone here. So definitely some very nice area to fly. I mean, yeah, the Spitfire is a wonderful plane. And of course, there's also the other thing I also know Wales about too, pretty much, is the town names. Wales has without a doubt the longest town names I've ever seen, and definitely some of the most unusual sounding is are all in Wales. Um, and some of these Welsh town names are even unpronounceable. One of the town names is Bulchigwyn, which is literally spelled Bwlchgwyn, which is that's very hard to pronounce. Then there's another one called Uzbudi Uzbif, which doesn't even have a single vowel into it. And who could forget the world's longest town name? It is literally Lenfapagwen Gilgor. Let me talk the name of that. Let me put it in the chat. Because that is the unpronounceable town name. Like, that is. Why does it have to be that long? I'm not being mean to the Welsh, far from it. But seriously, that name is just way too long. I can't even pronounce that properly. Mm. That's one of the many town names that is very, very tricky to pronounce in Welsh. So we're gonna get through the Welsh coast, the beautiful Welsh area. But yeah, it's beautiful out here today. Look at that. Now it's steerman. Now the Spitfire like a steerman and such. I open up the canopy for just a sec. But yeah, the idyllic English countryside and Wales. In fact, actually, this should be the Welsh countryside. In fact. Now, I definitely really like this place. Definitely for sure. I've had a good week. I won't be streaming Sunday though. I have a Christmas party with family and friends. I can't really stream. So this would be what Sunday stream would be. That's why it's going to be a bit of a longer stream. I'm just going to follow the coast to our landing spot. Now, some of the really cool things about Wales, there's definitely a lot of really cool attractions within the country. So I'm looking for some of the top attractions and such. Now I now I don't think the Sims ever gonna do Wales. And look at this. There's some cliffs right up here. Look at that. There's already cliffs up the side of it. They may not be the White Cliffs of Dover, but those look really, really good. Some beautiful beachside flying here at the British coast. So where we're heading to is Snowdonia National Park. And the highest point of the national park is Snowdon. As well. One of the most beautiful things. So definitely some great flying here today here in the Spitfire. If anyone wants to join me, I'm on East USA server, and we're going to be heading near Leon Better Airport in Wales. So Seamus, if you're still here, Chad, I got something to show you. Um, so I got this earlier yesterday. This is the Lufthansa Ju-52. This is a book I got, and it talks about the history of the Junkers, including the Ju-52, with Lufthansa. So it talks about the operational history of the plane. It talks about like its involvement with the company and such. And one of the really cool sections of this was it talked about Delta Dash Alpha Quebec Uniform India, which is one of the oldest Ju-52s still flying, and it talks about Lufthansa's extensive renovation for the plane. And I'm planning on doing that journey after I finish the Berlin to Beijing flight of 26. So getting that completed and getting that ready for next time. There's Snowdonia National Park and all that around here. There is Coed Brandon Forest National Park. But yeah, absolutely beautiful flying conditions here today in the UK. Just really beautiful conditions. So Test Pilot 72, good. I've seen you in the chat. I know you've been lurking around. Good to see you. Yeah, this is a very, very beautiful trip. Like, a lot of the stuff I do for looking up stuff is located in Wales. I know one of the other really cool places is Conwy Castle, which is which is a really which is a castle that was built in the 13th century. And it was built for the original King Edward I. And that old castle has a lot of history to it too. Like Wales and like all the United Kingdom has a ton of history. There's a lot of it here in the United Kingdom. The airport should be close. So I'm going to go ahead and descend. Yeah, it is. It looks really good here. Really, really good. Absolutely beautiful here in the UK. I made sure we didn't have to worry about the traditional United Kingdom weather, which is traditional cloudy day, overcast, dull. Yeah, this looks really, really cool. And a really nice area to fly around. And that's for sure. So today, Tujo Murphy is going to do a flight around Ireland. And I flew around Ireland earlier today. I flew around Ireland earlier yesterday on Skypark. And I guess Murph was right. Ireland is a really awesome country to fly over. I can see why Murph does a lot of trips over Ireland, that's for sure. So I'm going to hold up the gear. There's the airport in front of us. We're just going to go straight in. Lower down the. I'm going to put on the landing flaps. These are the landing flaps. I see the runway all the way down here, so I'm going to readjust the trim. Now, the thing that I think a lot of people have an issue with the Spitfire is definitely landing this thing. Landing this and taking off are usually the two things people have the most trouble with Spitfire. So I'm hoping I can land this thing properly. Because I know how difficult this. Here, it looks like a good landing. It looks potentially to be a good landing here, guys. Nearly got it, and I think I'm about to. Brakes. There you go. That was pretty smooth, yeah. And that was a smooth landing the Spitfire. That was actually smooth. My first landing is Spitfire in a couple months. Hey, US APR1. Good to see you, US APR. Good to see you around here. I'm also learning how to land the P-51. That was a butter. Thank you so much. Yeah, and the thing was, it's harder to land the Spitfire than it is to land the Mustang. And the major reason it's harder is because this. If you see how short the space between the wheels on a Spitfire, the Mustang is much wider, meaning the Spitfire is going to be a bit easier to land, as there's more space you can land it in. The fact I managed to even land this in the first place is not easy. Yeah, I think I'm very happy with the landing. So this here is we're in Leonbetter. This is Leonbetter Airport, located in Wales. So Leonbetter Airfield is located in the village of Leonbetter. It originally, well, it was part of the. It opened in 1941 as part of the RAF Fire Command's Number 12 group. This site was used as a towed target site and later target drone services for the UK Armed Forces. During the Second World War, it was home to 32 different RAF squadrons, that flew a variety of aircraft, including Super Marine Spitfires, P-51 Mustangs, Hawker Typhoons, Answer, Lysander, and Martinite aircraft. The longest serving was the number 631 Squadron, who arrived here in 1945 and stayed until 1949. Then, after the war in 1957, the airport was converted into a civilian airport. And then, as a secondary function, this is served as a V-bomber dispersal airfield and used for weapons training until 2004. And then it was reopened back in May 2014 for general aviation stuff. Now, in recent years, this airport was used for agricultural purposes, with an agreement by the Welsh government and the current site owners. So these were kind of the planes used during the war and such here at this airport. It's definitely been one of the longer lasting airports, especially for pre-World War II. And I mean, if you look to your right, you have the beautiful Snowdonia National Park, with some of the highest hills in all of Wales. So definitely a very beautiful area. So now we're going to get back to the nav map. After we go here, we're going to go through Snowdonia National Park, leave Wales, and get back into the Irish Sea, fly over a bit of the Isle of Man, and then fly into Scotland through Galloway Forest Park into Prestwick. And that will complete the second leg of the trip. That should be a pretty easy thing to do. Now I'm going to get back to the Spitfire. And get ready to take this plane back off. Gonna lower the gear. The parking brake should be off. So I'm now ready. Gonna go pretty slowly on the brakes. So if you want to join us, USAPR, let me give you the route. So EGOD is Leonbarter Airport. I'm on East USA server. And make sure you take something fast, like a Spitfire or a Mustang. Spitfire, Mustang, any Warbird would do. Any bird than Kilo Spitfire should be more than good enough. And she's off. A pretty easy takeoff. Now we should fly through Snowdonia National Park. Now, Snowdonia National Park, for those who don't know, uh, is actually the northwest region of Wales. It's quite mountainous compared to the rest of the country. It's quite a mountainous place, and it also is a national park consisting of 823 square miles of area. It was the first to be designated of the 3 national parks in Wales in 1951. Most of the ownership here is actually private, with nearly 70% of ownership being private. Snowdonia is known for its mountains, and they're all around 3,000 feet tall, and the highest is Mount Snowdon, which is around 3,560 feet, which is the highest in all of Wales and the highest in Britain south of the Scottish Highlands. It's also known for many rivers and other such locations here in Wales as well. But definitely an absolutely beautiful landmark. And definitely a true gem of British beauty. So here's Snowdonia National Park. To our left is Snowdonia, and it is absolutely beautiful. Snowdonia National Park is a real landmark in the British Isles. Absolutely beautiful. Now, if you go further right, is Liverpool, one of the more well-known cities in the United Kingdom, home to John Lennon, one of the most famous musical artists of all time. Absolutely beautiful landmark here today. Yeah, Snowdonia, absolutely beautiful place to fly over. So afterwards, we get through Snowdonia. I think we would be flying through the Isle of Man. Some absolutely beautiful flying here today. So now we're going to lead the coast. We're going to go straight up here to the yeah, we'll do it in a minute or two. Just need some practice. No worries there, USAPR. No worries. Bit of practice is not a bad idea. Like, learn to practice the Mustang definitely is a very smart idea. So definitely, we're going to get to the coast. Now, one of the major areas around here. Yeah, one of the things I do like about the Welsh countryside is definitely the fact you have plenty of hills and meadowy plains. Like, it's definitely very, very nice to fly over. Definitely a very underrated thing to talk about. So, there has been some recent news about MSFF add-ons. So apparently there's someone working on a freeware Learjet. Yes, a Learjet. This was one of the original business jets that was used in real life. Now, I know there has been quite a few people working on it, including the MG Honda Jet and the Aeroplane Heaver Saberliner. But it's actually made by someone who knows, by someone who's been a fan of Learjet since he was a kid. And I think this is going to be, this could be potentially be a really good freeware plane, especially the fact the Learjet is such an iconic business plane. Then there's someone coming in with an Airbus 220, a freeware A220. Which is definitely very interesting. We don't get to ever see the A220. Then the most interesting and hype thing about it I just saw. There's already a beta for the F-35 Lightning II, made by India Fox Echo, and they're the ones who made the MB339 and the T-45 Goshawk. And apparently, this thing apparently would even have stall capabilities like the real F-35, which would definitely be very interesting to see in the sim. I'm really, really interested in see what they do with it because the F-35 is such a very interesting plane with a lot of history and such. There are definitely some very interesting planes coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I can't wait. And then, of course, another really hype plane that's coming out is the Kodiak from SimWorks Studios, the one who made the Zenith Stoll plane. Now, this one's been getting a lot of attention because Two Cats, who I know pretty well, he's been streaming the Kodiak quite a bit, and he says it might be a really good plane. But it's going to come pretty good. It's going to come out December 17th. It's going to be at €30, which actually is a very solid price. And then they're also working on for an amphibian version with floats, and that's going to be a bit later with €15. But if this is going to be good as what Two Cats says, this is going to be a very popular plane. So I'm definitely very excited to see what they do here. So what I'm doing USAPR is doing the Land's End to John O'Groats journey. And this has been done in many ways. Walking, running, cycling, swimming, horse, skateboard, car, motorcycle, bus and coach, and even through an aeroplane and such. And the youngest person to ever do this was in 2017. A girl named Amelia Sampson, aged 22 months, completed it in 14 days. Yes, a 22-month-old kid did it in 14 days. And the oldest person to ever do it was Rick Seville, and he did it at the age of 74 on foot. Yes, 74 years old, which is pretty crazy. So definitely a very historic journey, if you ask me. Bless you. I'm sorry. Bless you. So I've been fooling around with Sky Park lately, and I've been really enjoying it. So for you guys who don't know, Sky Park is basically a career mode, and basically you can fly any plane you really want, and you can complete journeys and contracts through many different worldwide applications, and it's a really fun way for me to kind of waste time. I was thinking of doing Sky Park missions today, but I decided to do this John O'Groats thing because I wanted to do a journey. So that's what I wanted to do. So we're now approaching the Isle of Man. Now the Isle of Man is actually an island, and it's its own self-governing dependency of the British Crown, and it's between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Now humans have lived on this island since 6500 BC, and Gaelic influence began during the 5th century AD, and an old language was sprouted up, emerged known as Manx. It was originally part of Scotland during the Treaty of Perth in 1266, and after a few altering rules, it officially became part of the British Crown in 1399. But the island didn't become part of the Kingdom of Great Britain until the 18th century. In fact, the Isle of Man is universally known for being the first legislative body in the world to give women the right to vote in a general election. Now, some of the things the Isle of Man is known for is for the TT motorcycle race here in the Isle of Man, and the Manx cat, which is a domestic cat breed with short or no tails, developing here. Now, the population of the Isle of Man is around 83,314 people. Its highest elevation is 2,000 feet, so this is the Isle of Man. It's out right here. It's not a very big island. Now, motorcycle racing is a big deal because there's a motorcycle event called the Isle of Man TT. It's been held on the island since 1907. It is one of the most dangerous racing events in the entire world, and the reason this is such a dangerous, and a lot of people ask, why is it so dangerous? Well, I mean, you don't have much room to work with. And the reason it's so dangerous is because there's a lot of hills and such, and a lot of tight turns, and it makes it extremely dangerous. Now, the winningest driver of all time during this event is a guy named Mike Halewood, and he's won lots of different events in many different categories, including 500cc, 350cc, and 250cc events. And he won those during the 1960s. I ran out of fuel, so I need to reset. Whoops. Yeah, I forgot to turn on the external tank. That's why I almost crashed. Should have turned on the external tank. I should have known. Could probably do that. So definitely the Isle of Man, definitely a very interesting part. So now we got through to the Isle of Man, and now we're going to be heading to Scotland. So Scotland definitely has a lot of history itself. Scotland is definitely a very interesting um, country in the United Kingdom. So Scotland has been around for nearly as long as England's been around. England is now Scotland's main capital is Edinburgh, and its largest city is actually Glasgow, believe it or not. Now the history of Scotland, the Kingdom of Scotland originally was independent as an independent sovereign state until 1707, when by inheritance in 1603, James the Sixth of Scotland became King of Ireland, forming a personal union between the three kingdoms. And it entered into a political union with the Kingdom of England in 1707 to create the new Kingdom of Great Britain. And such, Scotland's deep history with Scottish culture and traditions are still strong even to this day, as the national identity of Scotland is still quite strong. Hmm. Oh, Scotland definitely has interesting stuff as well. Scotland is also very well known for football. In fact, football actually got started here in Scotland, believe it or not, in 1872 as the world's first international association football match was held in Scotland. That match took place between Scotland and England, and that resulted in a 0-0 draw. And following that event, it became the most popular sport in all of Scotland. Mm-hmm. So yes, modern day soccer association football got its start here in Scotland, believe it or not. Scotland also has its own national football team, the the Scotland national football team, ranked 38th in the world currently, and it's actually joined as the oldest national team in the world alongside England. And of course, Scotland and England are absolutely big rivals. And of course, there's also been quite a few really successful Scottish clubs, including Celtic winning the European Club, the Celtic Football Club, one of the Rangers and Aberdeen winning the UEFA Winners' Cup in 72 and 83 respectively. And Rangers has even made it to the European finals. Another major sport in Scotland is actually golf. Yes, golf was also another popular sport, and that also originated in Scotland. In fact, golf originated here in Scotland in the 15th century. And to many golfers, one of the most well-known golf courses in the world is the old course located in St. Andrews, and it's universally known as the origin of golf. And for most golfers, it is a pilgrimage site for the world's golfers. After all, it's home to the world's oldest golf tournament, the Open Championship, which first played in 1860 at the Prestwick Golf Club in Scotland. Other known sports in Scotland include the Highland Games, curling, and an unusual game called shinty, which is a stick and ball sport. Like here, definitely some really interesting history about Scotland, at least. There you are, USAPR. I need to get back on track. So we should get back here on track. Hopefully everything does pretty good. So now we should get there pretty quickly, at least. Now we're heading to Galloway Forest National Park. So Galloway Forest National Park is located here in Scotland. And it is one of the bigger forest parks in the UK. It was claimed to be the largest forest park in all of the United Kingdom. In 2000, it was established back in 1947. And one of the main areas of this is the Dark Sky Observatory, located in Dalmellington. This beautiful site was definitely one of the more well-known areas. Earlier this year, it suffered a devastating fire, and that completely obliterated the observatory. This park is also well known for being the birthplace of Alexander Murray, the son of a shepherd and farm labor, and he was self-taught on multiple languages, and he became a professor in the Oriental languages at the University of Edinburgh. Was found here. And it was also the site of a Hawker Typhoon crash in the forest. Now we're gonna head to Prestwick. So Prestwick is located here in Scotland. It's served by Glasgow Prestwick Airport, which serves many different destinations in Europe, as long as transcontinental flights. That's why we're going to be landing here today. And of course, this was home to the first ever the Open Golf Championship, which used to be played here from 1860 to 1872 before it was moved to the iconic St. Andrews Golf Course. Actually, and it currently now plays at Royal St. George's Club as well. definitely a very beautiful area here. A lot of the stuff is really, really nice. Now I should probably get lowering down the altitude. We're getting near Prestwick, and then we'll be one step closer to getting this done. Heard about Wendell? Oh yeah, Joey Wendell. Yeah, he's now moved on to a new team. Yeah, I still can't believe that. Yeah, Joey Wendell is now a Miami Marlin, and they got Cameron Misner, who I think is a pretty decent pickup. I know it sucks to not have Wendell, but you know what the hard part USCPR was? The surprising thing, the Rays they signed Wander Franco to an absolutely massive contract. Because Wander Franco got over a $200 million deal. He just debuted this past year, and he's already now got an 11-year, $182 million contract. Yes, I can't even believe that Wander Franco now got nearly $200 million contract with the Rays at age 20. Like, what? That means he became the youngest player in history to sign with at least a $100 million contract, which is just insane. Like, where was that money being spent during the last couple of years for the Rays? Just imagine the Rays get to keep some of their other top players. That's just crazy to think about. Like, that's just. I still am a little puzzled by it. Yeah, why are you objecting? The fans are willing to pay for it. Yeah, I'm I'm not objecting to keeping Wander Franco. My issue has been say hello there, friend. I'm not even objecting. We should all be sports superstars. I know. It's just weird. The reason I'm not objecting. I just said it's just weird. The Rays don't usually spend money in the off season. They don't. The last couple of years, the Rays have not spent much money on the off season at all. So in a move that's just it's just odd. I mean, I know about the Rays for years. I'm not objecting. It's just unusual. But I mean, I'm happy they kept Wander Franco for now 11 years. I like the old days where players and spotters play for the love of the game. Yep. $45 a part, 15 bucks for soul as well as cable TV. It's good to see you, friend all. So I'm doing the I just took off from Land's End and we're on the stop of our second stop of the journey here in Prestwick. We're gonna be flying to John and Groats for the final leg. So yeah, we're doing the Land's End to John and Groats journey. We're doing that. Well, I care about the health, education, community service spending here. Yeah, I mean, they definitely could spend some bit of money over there. So I've landed down here. This is Prestwick International Airport. So Prestwick definitely is a very interesting international airport here today. So Glasgow Prestwick serves many different international locations. It was originally opened all the way back in 19. It was built all the way back in 1945. It's one of the two. It's one of the busiest airports in all Scotland, the fifth busiest after Edinburgh Airport, Glasgow Airport, Glasgow International, Aberdeen, and Inverness. Though in terms of land area, this is the largest airport. And usually the main airliner that operates out of this airport is Ryanair, and they usually do flights out of Ireland and such. Most of these destinations are been from Spain and Portugal. Spain, Portugal, and Italy are usually the main parts that go out of this airport. And USAPR is down the Mustang. And you got there safely, USAPR. If there would be no community funding, we would have less to complain about. Yep. I kind of understand that point exactly. So that's pretty much the landings. Before we go, I'm going to take a quick restroom break. So I'll play some bit of music for you all. I'll be right back pretty soon. Hey guys, I'm back. Good to see everyone here. So we're now back. So now that we returned, we're gonna go ahead and get the Luna map back up for one last time. So we will be going off here from Prestwick Airport. We're gonna fly nearby Glasgow. We're gonna fly over Glasgow International, then fly right next to the Loch National Park. Fly through the Scottish Highlands. Fly through Kinloss Air Base, fly through the North Sea, then we're going to fly directly to John O'Groats, circle around John O'Groats for a bit, and then we're going to head straight to Wick International Airport at Wick, and we'll land there, and that will conclude our journey for this journey, which is pretty crazy to say for the least. So let me get back to the start of the runway. And that's going to be enough to... And we're back up. So we're going to fly pretty quickly here. Back in the air. That was a pretty nice stunt, if you ask me. Now, Glasgow has been the most Now, we're going to be flying a bit near Glasgow. So, Glasgow historically has been one of the most populous cities in all Scotland. It's actually the most populous city in all Scotland, and it's the fourth largest city in the United Kingdom. The only ones larger than that, obviously, is the population. The most obvious being actually in the United Kingdom. Obviously, the largest city in all of the United Kingdom is London. London is by far the largest city in the entire United Kingdom, and it's the capital. Larger than Glasgow are Birmingham, Liverpool, Nottingham, and Sheffield and Bristol are all larger than Glasgow. Glasgow has historically been a major part of the UK since the 15th century, and it became a major area during the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century. Now, one of the most interesting things about Glasgow was that during the Industrial Revolutions, it was a major center for chemicals, textiles, and engineering, most notably shipbuilding, as many famous vessels came here, and it was so important that for much of the Victorian and Edwardian era, it was the second city of the British Empire alongside London. Glasgow has major institutions including the Borough Collection, the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, Scottish Ballet, and Scottish Opera, which enjoy a great reputation internationally. And it was known as the European Capital of Culture in 1990 for its architecture, culture, music scene, and way more. And Glasgow recently became a host city for the UEFA Euro 2020 that just happened this past year. As well. Definitely some very popular stuff. Glasgow held the first ever international football match in 1872. The two main clubs in Scotland for football being Celtic and Rangers FC. Both are major crowd drawers there. And some famous people from Glasgow include, there have been many famous people. And I'm not the most well-known person for actors, but at least some of the people. But there's been a lot of famous people that have been around Glasgow for the people. I'm not really the most well-known in British sort of things, so I won't be able to recognize, but one of the most famous figures of it is actually fictional, that being Scrooge McDuck is actually from here. At least. Also, but the most famous, but actually two of the most famous people from um, is actually Angus Young and Malcolm Young, two of the band members from AC/DC. Very famous guitarists. They're both born in Glasgow, and those two became one of the most famous rock duos of all time. Also, Bobby Thompson, the iconic player who did the Shot Her Around the World, was actually born in Glasgow, believe it or not. Was born here in Scotland. And one of the most famous people of all Glasgow, and one of the people who worked, was William Thompson, and he was the one who founded the temperature unit of Kelvin, and that was named after him in his honor. And now we're in the Loch Tremont National Park, as we see here. How much indicated speed? I'm running 297 knots indicated true airspeed, 273. And this is beautiful here, guys. This is Loch Tremont National Park. Now, Loch Lomond National Park is here in Scotland. This one was established in 2002. It contains many of the parts of the Western Scottish Highlands. It is extremely well known. I mean, this is beautiful, guys. Let me go to showcase camera. This is just epic. This is a very epic sight here, flying around all this. Just very beautiful area. I know I deviated a bit off course, but I wanted to fly around this area for a sec. But some very beautiful areas here. UK and Scotland absolutely can be very beautiful. Now, one of the things that makes it really popular for tourism is definitely hiking and such. And the scenery and such is just beautiful. When people think of Scottish Highlands, this is where I think a lot of people think of, is here. Hiking is very popular with walkers, with lots of different routes. You can walk through all this area. You can hike. You can actually get on boats and do some canoeing and kayaking. Hey, Sergeant Staff just raided with a party of 4. Sergeant Staff, good to see you here today. Welcome, Raiders. So, how was your island hopping flight in Japan today? I hope that went really well for you. So today, guys, this is part 2. I'm on my final leg for the trip. We're doing the Land's End to John O'Groats route. And we took off here from Land's End. We went all the way to Wales. And then we went from Wales. We flew over a bit of the Isle of Man into Scotland. And then we're flying from Prestwick. We're going up the Scottish Highlands into... We're going to pass through the town of John O'Groats. And then we're going to land here at Wick International. So that's the flight plan for today. And right now we're near Loch Lomond National Park. I'm trying to get back on course a little. It went okay. Well, I hope at least you got a stream going on. So, it's great to see all the Raiders here today. I really appreciate you all being here. So, I'm in the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9 from Flying Iron Simulations. Ended up in a crash course in VOR. Oh, no. Oh, no. Now, I never really did much with VOR such, flying in the sim myself. No, not literally. Oh, you went a crash course in V... Oh, not literally. Okay. I apologize if I took it a little literally, man. I'm really sorry. Captain Seffi was showing me how to use it and read it. Yeah, Captain Seffi's a really helpful guy. He can teach you a lot of things too. Like, he can fly with celestial navigation in a DC-6. It's a safe bet, LOL. Nope. So if you guys like this content, don't be afraid to smash that follow button. Though, if you'd like to see more content like this. But this, let me give a shout out to Sergeant Staff who just raided the stream today. So Sergeant Staff, thank you for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. So give Sergeant Staff a follow if you haven't done so already. He doesn't just stream Fight Sim, he streams other games too. So he's a really interesting variety streamer. He can stream not just Flight Sim, and apparently he's actually him and his family have worked on many different kinds of Grumman Widgeon planes, which are the flying boats. So definitely a very cool guy with a really interesting career and such. So no problem, no worries. It's more than appreciative. I really appreciate you coming by. It's my way of saying thanks. So yeah, this is absolutely beautiful flying today. Let me get the showcase. Yeah, this is the Scottish Highlands. And that looks good. And I had to take the Spitfire for this journey. I can't think of anything more British than a Spitfire. Oh, pretty. It is absolutely gorgeous. Oh yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. It is extremely beautiful. Oh no. My camera thing goes up. Okay. Do not pretend that did not happen. But yeah, I was talking about the history of each of the different regions here. I talked a bit about the history of Wales and Scotland and the Isle of Man. Just talked about some of this sort of thing. I mean, yeah. Like I said, this was one of the first planes I got for the sim for third party is the Spitfire, and I mean, I still love this thing. Even with all the new warbirds, like the Mustang came out, and other planes like the Texan, I still need to take that on a stream. But this is absolutely beautiful. A beautiful bird. Love flying this thing. So hello. So like I said earlier, I'm happy to see all the raiders in chat. It was your first face cam stream. Oh, I hope sending that face cam went out pretty good. I remember my first stream with the face cam. I had to use my integrated camera for my laptop. In order to use the mic, I had to use the mic from my headset onto it. I remember that for the first time. But that was before I got my new webcam, which I've still been currently using to this day. So, like I said, I hope setting it up wasn't too much of a hassle for your sergeant staff. I always use your headset cam. Ah. Your headset mic. Yep. No issue whatsoever. Ah, great. That's wonderful news. So I got this yesterday in the mail. So it talks about the Junkers J52, which, by the way, is one of my favorite planes in the sim. And the reason I got this is because one of my journeys I'm going to do is talking about Delta hyphen Alpha Quebec Uniform India, which is one of the last Ju-52 still in the air. And this one talks about its deep history of Lufthansa. In particular, one of the parts in the book talks about its restoration by Lufthansa. They actually took that plane all the way from Opelaka to Hamburg. So it talks about the flight of the restoration. And it talks about how they restored that plane. Yeah, I love the Ju-52 as well, Sergeant Staff. That's why I'm doing 2 whole journeys with it, which I think is going to be great. All Viper pilots, how are you doing? Daiki, good to see you, Daiki Decimus. So yeah, it's great to see you, Daiki. If you guys haven't checked him out, Daiki is a really awesome pilot. Amazing flyer, he's a really good content creator. If you haven't checked out, Daiki Decimus is a really, really good content creator. And just because he's mute doesn't stop him from doing the thing he loves to do, and that's flight simming and stuff. Really good pilot. He's a really chill and laid back kind of person. The kind of person I like to watch. So please give Daiki Decimus a follow. So Daiki, I'm actually in the Scottish Highlands right now. I'm doing the Land's End to John O'Groats journey. I'm taking the Supermarine Spitfire here today. So I just started from Land's End Airport. We went across the Bristol Channel into Wales, right outside of Snowdonia National Park. Then fly across the Isle of Man into Scotland, to the lower part of Scotland, into Prestwick, and now we're going to the Scottish Highlands, all the way to John O'Groats, and then cut off for Wick International Airport. So that's what I've been planning on doing. And yeah, the Scottish Highlands in this sim, especially after the world update they did for it, looks absolutely incredible. Nice trip. Yep, it is a very nice trip. No one's ever done this sort of journey in the sim before, so that's why I wanted to do it. Be the first person in the sim to actually take this on a journey. It is incredible, to say for the least. And then Daiki, I actually have my book with me. I just got this today. It's what I mentioned on your channel yesterday about the Ju-52. I'm going to get one more book. It's The Saga of Iron Annie by Martin Kaiden. He was the one who actually helped partially restore the plane. And he took it on many air shows back in the day as Iron Annie. And believe it or not, that plane that Martin Kaiden bought eventually became restored by Lufthansa as Delta Dash Alpha Quebec Uniform India, one of the last airworthy Ju-52 variants. So I'm going to get that book, and then that way I can use it for the second journey after I get done with the Berlin-Beijing flight. That's going to happen not this upcoming Sunday, but the next one afterwards. No, I have no problem with the Daiki. I understand it's not easy to fly and type. It's not easy. I do not blame you for thinking that way. No, don't blame yourself, man. No apologies needed. I completely understand. I read everything though. No worries. Yeah, I can't wait to start doing these journeys. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be really, really fun. I can't wait to get these journeys started. The good thing about not streaming this week is I get more time to complete everything for the journey. So I talked about earlier, so it turned out that modern association football and golf all got their starts in Scotland, actually. and mainly near Glasgow and everything. As modern golf got started with the Open back in the 1870s, and the first association soccer match was played in Glasgow between Scotland and England. Definitely a very interesting story that I think a lot of people don't realize. But Scotland's got a lot of depth. It's also got lots of very unique national identity. And it's Scottish cuisine as well. And of course, one of the most iconic things about Scotland has been its Scotch whiskey. Its Scotch whiskey is definitely a Scottish icon. Made from malt barley, it was originally introduced in the 18th century, in the late 18th century. There's also Scotch ale as well. In Shilling ale, and beer has been produced here for about 5,000 years. And who could forget one of Scotland's most infamous dishes, a dish known as haggis. Haggis is actually basically a pudding containing the heart, liver, and lungs of a sheep alongside several other ingredients in haggis. Yeah, better take some time to create some content and spam the go live button. Yep, I completely agree. I like to create good content and such. That's why I don't want to be the guy who just pressed live to do things. I like to create my content. I like to create my own stuff. And that's the kind of person I want to be. I want to create content like Murph does. Murph usually plans things out in advance. He has a planned schedule. He doesn't just go live and do whatever he wants. Murph creates a schedule. He creates his own flight plans and such. I know Alison Johnson does so with her aviation streams. Yeah, packed in intestine. Yeah, that's haggis, definitely. But like I said, Dikey, Alison Johnson does her historical flights, and she plans out not just the routes, but she also plans out what she wants to talk about. And for me, that's what I want to do my own historical flights. Packed into a test. Yeah, haggis is packed into sheep intestine. A terrible schedule, and my flights and streams are my worst streams. Ugh. Sorry to hear about that, Sergeant Staff. Bless you. And yes, haggis is the national. It's no big thing. But like I said earlier about haggis, haggis is apparently the national dish of Scotland. So definitely a very unusual national dish. That's. Now, believe it or not, actually, I got some interesting things about this journey that I think you haven't known about. The by airplane, the fastest to ever do this route by airplane is 45 minutes completed by F4 Phantom pilots. And that was done in 46 minutes and 44 seconds by a McDonnell F4 Phantom. So we're going to be doing this in around 2 hours plus, from the sounds of it. My issue is I work all night and stream in the mornings. Yeah, I can understand. That's definitely a very unusual thing. like for me, I don't really work because as someone with special needs, I don't really have as many employment opportunities. So I have more opportunities here to stream. But with a schedule like that, I can definitely see why that's probably an issue. Especially the fact you work very, very late at night. And you stream in the mornings. And the mornings are usually very busy with a lot of streamers. Like Fabio, London Controller, even me, potentially. Like, it's not easy to stream in the mornings and such. So that's just kind of how I feel. So we just passed over Avernus. We just flew over the town of Avernus. It's not a big deal. My flights are more for me anyways. Yep. I get that. I get that completely. Like, I try to make my flights at least a group flight. Not so much for me. I try to at least make them group flights so people can join in on my streams and such. Like, I don't mind doing flights for myself. That's mainly the world journeys and such. But I want to do these for group stuff. And get more people involved, which I think would be great. If you don't mind me saying, you do fairly well with your disability. Yeah, my disability is autism and such. No worries, man. Like, I have autism myself. Thankfully, I have high-functioning autism and such. Like, I could do mostly everything else a normal person can. I just still need some help with mainly, like, socializing and such. I still need help there. My son's in that spectrum. Yeah. I've been around lots of people with that sort of thing. I'm good friends with quite a few people on the spectrum myself, because I've been around with therapists and such, and I think it's been really helpful. Yeah, you are high functioning. Yep, I can go to school, do everything else like most normal person. Oh, hello. You never mind. You're hyper focused. Yeah, I can get a little over anxious about things. Like, I can get over passionate about some things sometimes. I sometimes get a little overboard. Yep. I kind of get a little overboard on things. I get too enthusiastic and crazy. And I can get a bit emotional sometimes, but like I said, I could do mostly everything else a normal person can. I could still go to school. I could still help around the community. I can still do a lot of these things. So I'm not that worried about it. I still need some assistance here and here to make sure I'm safe and all that. Like when I was back in school and such. So yeah, I think everything's fine, and I think I'm doing quite well myself. So we're getting near lands to draw Groats. We're just hugging around the coast. Here. Yeah, I really do like flying over the Scottish Highlands. Definitely a very underrated flying area, that's for sure. So my son has stimming and that sort of stuff. But when he's diagnosed, it made me look at myself. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, when a lot of people have people with special needs, like you have to take care of them. I know you still gotta treat them like adults and people, but you gotta understand they have their own issues and such, and try to be open-minded and be sensitive. I think that's really kind of the key. Yeah, even I stutter. Even I stutter a bit and such. Like I still have those issues myself. So I still have those issues even to this day. I still stutter quite a bit. But I mean, I'll get through it. And Captain Seppi's here. Hey Seppi, it's been a while since we last chatted to each other. Captain Seppi, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming by to my channel. Captain Seppi is a really excellent content creator. There's a reason he's called a dude. Very chill, very laid out, and definitely someone I would love to watch a stream with. So Captain Seppi, really awesome. I have a few friends for the autistic spectrum, says Dikey. Mostly everything was fine. Sometimes they switched and we all just adapted. Yeah, that's kind of the thing too. Like I said, I've been on many. I've been with an organization that deals with special needs, and I've talked to many people in the spectrum and such. So adapting to that is a key. I think getting to know the person and get along with them and treat them with respect, I think is very rewarding. Because I think a lot of the people in the spectrum that I know very well are very good people. Have been really kind people once I've known it. So definitely something to keep in mind. That's for sure. I know I was very busy with Thanksgiving and putting the fence up, says Seppi. Well, this past weekend I had to put Christmas stuff up. And I didn't know if you were there last week, but on Sunday we finally got the baseball series finished. Took the PNDG DC-6 up to Seattle. And that was quite a fun flight. And I absolutely agree. If the world just treat people with more respect, yes, I completely agree. It doesn't matter if they have special needs or not. Just treat people the way they want to be treated. Now, that is the number one thing. That's what I try to do. Treat people with respect. So, absolutely, I absolutely agree with that wholeheartedly. As someone with special need, I absolutely agree. I hate bullying myself, and I'm not even part of that sort of thing. But that's just not what I want to do. But that's why I have this amazing community with me. The amazing community with Tuto Murphy, Captain Seppi. There's so many great flight simmers in this community that I always feel welcome to be in. And I think this has been very good for me as I interact with so many amazing people with so many cool stories that are waiting to be shared and told. And I think this is the first real community I feel really welcome with. Not everyone learns at the same level. It's not hard to see that. Treat everyone with respect. Yeah. One of the surprising things is that people tend to think twice about pulling out the hammer and judging. Yeah. Because like I said, a lot of these people in the flight sim community that I've noticed is a lot of them are real people. A lot of the flight simmers I know have real lives. Like Merv he's working logistics. Like Allison is working a lot. Those are people with real sort of jobs as real people. So I think that's from what I've met a lot in the community about. Been on Twitch for so long, and it has a reason I don't use a camera. One of the things you don't know is I grew up with special need people. My mother taught me people who are not high. Yeah, I've known quite a few people who are not high functioning either. I was not just in high school, but I was with an organization outside school that helps people with special needs who are not so high functioning. And I think it's helped me out a lot as helps me understand these people and help socializing them. And that way I get along with them extremely well. I think that's helped me a lot with empathy and all that. I think it's just way too easy for people to not get empathetic. So we're getting near John O'Groats. So John O'Groats is traditionally acknowledged as the most extreme northern point of all of Scotland. Actually, the northernmost point is actually in Dunnet Head, which is about 2 miles north. But we're going by the traditional route. Now, the name John O'Groats comes from the name John de Groot, a 15th century Dutchman who once piled a ferry for me to here. And the local legend has it that the O'Groats refers to John's charge of one groat for use of his ferry. But it actually derives from the Dutch word de Groot, meaning the large. People claim from John O'Groats are known as the Groaters. And of course, this was used for the known for the Land's End to John O'Groats trip. And it's a little journey, and it's actually a little journey. I'm happy that I can do this in the sim, fly a plane up there, which is really cool. John O'Groat attracts large numbers of tourists from around the world. And apparently a lot of people can do it, too. There are people who've done it by horse. There are people who've done this journey by swimming. A runner can even do it. Cycling, car, like using a car or motorcycle. You can walk there. Wheelchair. There's even someone who's crazy enough to do this by golfing. Which is just, I mean, it's insane that people do this journey. It's crazy. And I think we're about to land on John Groats. So I'm going to lower the altitude from 8,000 feet. I'm going to start lowering the altitude. I still see some of her students these days, and they remember me as a little kid. Ah, cool. That's a really interesting story there, Sergeant Steph. I appreciate you telling me about this. I think it's really cool to get to know more about the people that I've been with. So we're going to get near John O'Groats. Now, to our right is actually the most extreme northern point of the continental islands, that being Dunnet Head. This is actually the real most extreme northern point in the island of the British Isles. But we're going to go to the traditional. So John O'Groats should be down here across the road. Support is support, my friend. Absolutely. Bang on. So we're going to fly in the lower altitudes. But yeah, I do like flying in the British Isles. Definitely very nice. Definitely a very nice area to fly around. And I've heard Ireland is really... I've been flying on Ireland, and I would really like to do a flight in Ireland. The only reason I haven't done really much any streams around Ireland is because... Well, Two-Toe Murphy always flies in Ireland. He always flies in Ireland. That's probably the number one reason I don't fly to that country very much. So here's the John O. Groats signpost. There's John O. Groats down over here. So here's John O. Groats, the little the island down here. So now we're going to land straight back. If you guys like the content you see here, don't be afraid to smash that follow button. So we're going to land on... Now let me pull up Wick Airport. I've just read an update about my Tsar Rutherford challenge. The water is clearing. I better get to plane mode. I seem to have a 840 nautical mile GA flight on my hands tonight. Oh, that's going to be a really long one. Yeah, I just heard about Tsar Rutherford. And so, for guys who don't know, Zara Rutherford, she just got her pilot's license out of Belgium, and she's doing a fly around the world, and then she's attempting to be the youngest woman in history to fly around the world. And she's an incredible journey. I believe right now her journey, I believe she's already in Russia. She's reached into Russia. She's still in Russia right now. You'll be looking from now on. No worries, Daiki. We're about to land. But she's right now in Russia. She's gonna fly from Russia. She's gonna fly all the way. She'd start her journey in Belgium. She just went across the British Isles from Iceland, Greenland, Canada, the United States, Cuba, the Caribbean, Colombia, through Mexico, into Russia. Now she's heading to South Korea. So definitely. So what's the Zara challenge? It's not a Zara challenge. It's Zara Rutherford. She's flying around the world. She's attempting to become the youngest woman to do so. There's Seamus. Put the land flaps in. I think we're about to land. Yeah, attempting a world record in solo flying. Landing. There you go. There you go, everyone. That was another smooth. I've been nailing these landings in the Spitfire. Holy crap! I thought I was gonna struggle on one of those landings. Like I said, Spitfire is certainly not an easy plane to land or take off. Nice one, thanks, Seamus. Butter. Yeah, that was really smooth. I'm very, very happy with the landing here. Like I said, it's not easy to land this thing, especially with how short the wheel differential is. That the P38's a handful. Oh, I bet it could be quite a handful, even though it's a tricycle gear. Apparently, it's yeah, I heard it's quite a handful. So So yeah, I see USAPR up there. He's in the P-51 Mustang, which I took last Wednesday. So last Wednesday, I took the P-51 through from Red Rock Canyon, Death Valley, Yosemite National Park, and that was a beautiful flight. It was absolutely gorgeous, and definitely one of my favorite areas to fly around the whole sim. But yeah, I really enjoyed this journey. This is an incredible flight. So this is really nice. Now the question is, who should I raid? I was thinking either Oak Candle or 757 Spy. I wonder, it's between one of those two. I wonder who I'm gonna raid. I think I've raided 757 Spy in the past. So maybe I raid Oak Candle Stream since he's a bush flyer. So I think Oak Candle might be the one I want to raid. I'm just gonna wait till USAPR lands. And plus, he's followed my channel, so he just followed my channel 2 weeks ago. So I think it would be kind of right to raid his channel. For those guys who don't know, Oak Candle is a true bush pilot. He's bush flying like me. I love the bush flying, and he is the ultimate sort of bush flyer. So I think we should raid his channel. And guys, there will be no flying on Sunday. I have a Christmas party with family and friends. And it's going to be an all-day sort of event, so there will be no streaming there. And then next Wednesday, we get back to one of my bush flight trips. So I may be doing that. And then next Sunday is going to be the start of my historical flight trip of the 1926 Lufthansa Berlin to Beijing trip. And we'll finally get ready for that journey to begin. It'll be a long overdue trip. I'm very, very happy to finally do it. So we're going to go ahead and raid Okandu's channel. So I hope you all can take care and have a great rest of the day. And see you all later. Take care, everyone, and have a great